Okay, my name is Rich Cabral. It's spelled C-A-B-R-A-L, Deputy Chief with the Fresno Fire Department. And this is a follow-up interview to the fire that we had at 4885 North Backer last evening. The call came in at approximately 7:25 p.m. This is on North Backer, just south of Shaw Avenue and adjacent to Fresno State University. These are the Maplewood apartments. There are a number of apartment buildings, about 7 units per building, and 2 of the buildings received significant damage. We've been able to determine that the fire originated in a dumpster, and now the dumpster was located underneath a carport that was a wooden structure, and it appears that actually there are 2 dumpsters. The dumpsters were quite full at the time of the incident. Once the fire got started, it spread into the wooden carport structure, and then the fire spread to 2 adjacent apartment buildings that were wood-sided types of buildings. At this time, what we can report is that there were 14 units total that were affected by this fire. 8 units are a total loss. And then 3 units have partial damage to those buildings, and we had to displace people from all 14 of those units. Included in the losses are 8 cars within the carports, and then they are a total loss as well, and then 2 received significant damage to those vehicles. And then the carport was a complete loss as well. So we're estimating that the losses to the structures and to the cars alone are approximately, and this is a rough estimate, $2.5 million. That does not include the contents of these homes. Now, these apartments were converted into condominiums that are individually owned. Many of them are rented and to a diverse population. We had people there who are students at Fresno State University, and then we also had people who are early career on through to retired folks who are living in these apartments. This is a very significant loss for the city of Fresno. We had Red Cross come out to assist those who were displaced, and also Fresno State University stepped up and provided emergency housing for those that were displaced from this incident. This was a significant draw to our resources here in Fresno. This fire went to 3 alarms plus special called additional units to the scene. At one time we had just 5 units available to the rest of the city, where if we had another significant fire, we certainly would have relied upon mutual aid in order to handle those types of incidents. This time I would be available to answer any questions you might have.
An investigation like this could take a while. How did you guys work so quickly to figure out what the cause was?
Well, one of the things that we have in the city of Fresno is because we have such a significant fire problem here, is that we have arson investigators who actually respond to the first alarm assignment in order to gather as much information as they can. These investigators work 24-hour shifts, and so they were on hand during the early stages of the incident, interviewing people who were at this incident scene in order to gain information, gain video footage, gain ring types of video from doorbells and what have you. And so that, as well as the pattern of the fire, gave us the conclusion that this fire started in those 2 dumpsters.
Do we know if it's accidental or on purpose?
At this time, we do not know if it was accidental or on purpose.
When it comes to smoke detectors, did that help play a role in getting those people out safely?
Yeah, I certainly want to encourage everyone to have smoke detectors in their homes, and that includes apartments, condominiums, or what have you. I think the residents here helped one another when they saw that this carport was on fire and threatened their homes. I think that really helped them get people out. And so in talking with one of the residents there, They had 2 small children. They saw the potential of this catching their unit on fire, and they got out and they did exactly what they should have done.
One of the things about the fire hydrant actually close to there, I know there were some possible problems with that, or it started to go out. Can you speak a little bit to what was happening there?
We had multiple challenges with this incident. The incident initially was reported as a dumpster fire, and as Engine 6 was responding into the incident scene, the call was upgraded to a first alarm fire, and that gave him 4 additional engine companies, 2 ladder trucks, and a battalion chief. But yes, when he first arrived, gave a report on conditions. There was a fire hydrant approximately 50 feet behind Engine 6 with which he could gain access to, but when they went to open that hydrant up, it was non-functioning. And so they had to get another engine company to lay about 400 feet from that engine company to a hydrant and make the connection. So yeah, we're looking into that. We checked into the last time it was inspected. It was inspected in December to where it was functioning. Didn't have any issues, and we also looked at the prior inspections on that hydrant. So that hydrant will be followed up on. We'll work with the water department to get that repaired, so it is ready for the next time it's needed.
How many times do you guys do inspections on any type of fire hydrants around the city?
We inspect our hydrants annually, so each of our 20 stations goes out. They have varying numbers depending upon the area that they are in, and they go out to ensure that the hydrants are working, ensure that they are maintained with and properly lubricated, and that they're painted and identifiable. So we have records of each and every hydrant in the city of Fresno, and there are thousands of them.
Does that seem odd that it could happen? Could that be vandalism or somebody stealing metal or anything like that?
We're going to have to look into this. I'm not ready to call it vandalism at this time. It could just simply be that there was a mechanical malfunction of the nut that operates that fire hydrant. So we'll have to keep up on it, keep up with our inspections of it. It's why we do those types of inspections. Unfortunately, this one had an incident that caused us a little challenge early on. This was off of Backer. Lines were pulled in off of that engine company. They never ran out of water on that engine company, and so they were able to operate off of their tank water and gain access to another hydrant. And in the meantime, a ladder truck was put into place on the backside of the incident where the main body of fire was. And if you saw truck 11 up in the air with that ladder pipe, that's the unit that made the biggest difference for us as far as getting control of that fire. And then firefighters with hand lines went ahead of where the fire was located to ensure that the fire was not spreading to other adjoining units.
Do you have any info on how many people were insured or lost their?
I don't have the information as far as how many people had insurance or no insurance. Recognize that each one of these units was individually owned. There is an association, and so the recovery for this incident is going to be a coordinated one between those who are living and owning and occupying, those who are landlords and renting the properties out, as well as the homeowners association there.
This is an older building, and so therefore the fire spread quickly, would you say?
It depends on your definition of older. These were likely 30 to 40-year-old structures that had codes that didn't include sprinklers. Sprinklers probably would have made a difference in this instance here. Okay, so and also they had wood siding that helped out with the spread of this incident. I think the main issue here was the fact that we had the dumpsters underneath the carports in secured areas, and so we've already met with property management. They are removing those dumpsters from those areas, and when at the time that these apartments were built, it likely was according to code that was allowed. That is not allowed today, and so they are being cooperative. Yes, ma'am. They were likely grandfathered into that code. And so they are being cooperative there, Maplewood, the association, and they're removing those dumpsters from the other carports. You had a question back there,
Well, can you
Jason?
talk about just the intensity of the flames? I mean, here you said, what, 8 cars, 10 cars were hit, and 14
Right.
units. I mean, I know it was underneath the dumpster was underneath the carport, but I mean, that seems like it was a fast-moving, intense.
It was very intense. I saw video footage. The captain arrived, took a quick shot of what he had when he first arrived there, and he had a carport that was fully involved, multiple cars that were well involved with fire, flames through the roof of one of the apartment buildings with multiple units involved, and then impinging upon a second apartment building. So in subsequent order, within approximately 5 minutes, he already had a third alarm en route. When I got the call at home, my initial notification was that we already had a third alarm at this apartment unit. And in those types of instances, I will respond in, report to the command post, and then I reported directly into the operations section chief, and he had his hands full. Fire that was spreading into multiple units, trying to get the buildings evacuated that were adjacent to them, and our partners in law enforcement assisted us a great deal in evacuating those buildings. And you know, one of the wins of this incident is that we did not have anyone injured as a result of this, or even killed. So I'm very thankful for the aggressive actions of those firefighters and those police officers for the work that they did last night.
Can you speak a little bit more to that? I mean, is it pretty amazing in an instance like this, when it is dealing with, apartment condominiums, that kind of thing, that nobody was injured and you guys were able to get everybody out?
The potential certainly was there. When you consider that, Fresno State's getting ready to open up for business, and the apartments are full, young people are inhabiting these units. I don't know if you saw the parking situation there, but Backer is car to car, end to end in diagonal parking, and so yeah, the place was full. The life potential was certainly there, and so yeah, I'm very thankful that even though we had a fast spreading fire that was downwind, not a lot of wind, but significant, that affected the spread of this fire. I'm very fortunate that we didn't have anyone injured or killed as a result.
Did you have a common attic in those places that is no longer allowed?
Yeah. I couldn't tell you exactly if it is via code how many units are allowed, but what I noticed when I was there was that we had I call a parapet, but an attic that had a fire break in it. Approximately every 2 to 3 units, and so that did help us to make a stop on the second building that was on fire.
How much water was used to take out the fire?
I couldn't tell you the exact amount of time, but let me just give you an idea. We were involved in the firefight for well over 2.5 straight hours of flowing heavy master streams. Now, we consider a heavy master stream to flow 1,000 gallons a minute or more. And so that ladder pipe that was up was likely flowing about 1,200 gallons of water per minute for about 2.5 hours. So that gives you an idea just what kind of water flow we had, and what kind of water system we're very fortunate to have here in Fresno.
Do you guys get concerned with that going now into, the wastewater and all of that, with having all of the ash and all of that?
Our sewer system seems to handle it just fine. We have not gotten reports from the water department that this is an issue for them, and so no, we don't have that kind of concern. Any other questions? Okay. Like I said, this was a very difficult, challenging incident for us. One last reminder I'd have for the public is that we do have these types of large incidents in Fresno, unfortunately. We ask for their cooperation, that when they do see an incident like this, that they please not come into the area. It's very important for us to gain access and to place our large aerial ladder trucks and fire engines into the adjacent spaces in order to provide an effective firefight. I can tell you that was very, very challenging last night on Shaw Avenue and on Backer. If the public can help us by not coming into the incident scene, that would be very beneficial to us.
Will you guys have crews out there any longer, or will you guys be leaving the scene at some point?
At this time, we do have an investigator that has been out just gathering information from tenants. Our Engine 6 was there early this morning, as did I. But at this time, we have turned the property over to the property management. There is a chain link fence that's been placed all around the units that were involved to provide for security and to ensure that people are safe. So at this time, we've turned it over to them. Anything else? Okay, thank you all.